Finally, man. When I hit 30, I was like, please God, let me go over 30, please. Oh, I hit 31 actually, so I was hyped.
Well, y'all needed them.
Yeah, we did for sure.
I feel like it just kind of went to you there in the fourth. I mean, Queen scored some big buckets too, but it seemed like she kind of put it in your hands in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I feel like also rebounding. Like, I feel like me rebounding the whole game got me a lot of my buckets, especially like defensive rebound, taking it coast to coast.
So do you know when your only assist came in this game?
No win.
Jamie's go ahead 3 points. You talk about that stretch a little bit. You got the rebound and she's hit the three. Then she had a 3-point play after Caitlin had a steal. Then Caitlin had a 3-point play.
Yeah.
What that shows about this team.
Momentum. I feel like N1s give you so much momentum. So just seeing everybody get hype, you know, get energy from N1s, it just motivates you to go harder.
Okay, please pause. Hi, Jamie.
Not fashionably late.
Listen, I was told we were ready.
Melissa, considering that y'all started out 0-2, almost 0-3, how good does it feel to be basically playing for it on Monday?
It feels great, honestly. I mean, especially just being here, you know. I've already won 3, so I don't want to be that one team, you know, not to get the 4th one. So I'm super excited to play for another championship here.
Jamie, talk about that stretch where you did have the 3-pointer and then the 3-point play right after that. Just
I actually didn't know that I did that back-to-back like that. But it feels good to, you know, help my team out a little more, bring it on the defensive and offensive end. So, you know, it felt good to be able to bring that today.
Because of the way the first game went, Jamie, because of the way the first game went at Kansas, did y'all expect to kind of have to fight them off all night like you did?
Yeah, we knew they were going to be more aggressive because, you know, you can kind of see on their faces they were a little upset that they lost that one in Kansas. So I think they were more hungry this game, and, you know, they made sure they were very, very physical with us.
Was there anything different for you tonight? I mean, 4 or 5 from 3. It's been a while since you had a game like that.
Yeah, I've been in the gym a lot and, you know, kind of trying to find myself and, you know, believing in God and, you know, trying to pray to my mom and just ask her, like, you know, what's going on with me and, you know, how can I help my team a little more. And, you know, I just kind of got my answer and was just like, calm down, let it come to you. And I think that's kind of what I did today. And, yeah.
Did she challenge you to be kind of that shutdown defender, or was that something you felt like was already part of your game?
I think it was already a part of my game. And I think the challenge is, like, her putting me on the best player, you know, which this game was Holly, obviously. So, you know, you just take that on and, you know, I'm not scared, so.
Listen, when they got it to 3 in the fourth quarter, what was your mindset at that point? And maybe Queens as well, because she had a couple of big buckets there.
Really just stop fouling, get the game under control. I feel like we let them come back through the free throw line, just unnecessary fouls too. So I feel like every time we score, they'll go down and foul, get 2 more points. So I just feel like just, you know, calming down, getting the game under control, scoring the ball easily when you can, running good sets. I feel like that helped us a lot.
Melissa, how mentally tough would you describe this team as, you know, the way you started Big 12 play and now, you know, just to try to go 1-0 every day? I mean, you can say that, but to actually do it is another thing.
I feel like we're very mentally tough. I feel like we've been through so much adversity in this program, whether it's having a new coach and having to adjust to that, to injuries, to when we had to pause for COVID. You know, Sarah's not 100%, J. Lou's not 100%. Every night, you know, everybody has those aches and those pains, but every night you can't really tell because we're going to fight through it. So I feel like we've always been that team that's going to fight through adversity every game.
Jamie, Melissa's already won 3. What does this mean for you to play?
Yeah, 3.
It's important to me, and, you know, it's going to be one of the hardest games we'll have to play. So I think this game, we need to play our heart out. Like, you know, just go play, do what we do. And we can't get caught up in that, though. You know, if we try to push forward, you'll never get it. So you just got to let, you know, God handle what he handles and, you know, let it come to us.
Come on, somebody ask questions about bad free throw shooting. Let's go.
You got better.
Oh, man. You know, we've been a good free throw shooting team all year, but when we have a bad half, we have a bad half. So it's like when it rains, it pours.
So you weren't making free throws, and they were making easy shots, and they get up 8. What changed after that to you?
I mean, I think it was one stop at a time. You know, it's one stop at a time. It's some simple transition baskets. It's you know, some made threes. Like I think both teams. You know, I will say this about the second half. You know, and I talked to Brandon in the hallway. I think KU runs great stuff. Like I just scouting them and watching them. They move people around. They do good job, really good job screening and executing. And it's hard to help at times with some of their actions. And so they get you some isolations and do a really good job doing it. And so, you know, I think if you like offensive basketball, the second half was a great half of offensive basketball. I think both teams struggled to guard the others. I think we shot ourselves in the foot with some bad turnovers in transition again, where you get an 8-point lead and you have a chance to make it 10. You have a 10-point lead, you have a chance to make it 12, and we miss a layup or we miss, you know, we turn it over, things like that. But, you know, I thought we continued to play hard. And, you know, but it's always going to come down to stops. When we can rebound, we can get in transition. When we can get in transition, there's just way more room for Nalissa Smith to operate. But I moved her around all night. We screened her in, we screened her out. You know, we countered coming out of a timeout in action that they were guarding actually quite well and kind of set them up and came out the other way, and she hit a jump shot. So, you know, we did a pretty good job executing coming out of timeouts as well.
What does a win like this do for your confidence heading to games?
Well, I mean, obviously this run started with them, you know, and honestly, like we're one basket away from, you know, in that OU game here of being undefeated since we played them, which the game does not come down to one basket, you know, but, you know, I think that, you know, we've put ourselves back into a position where, you know, we have a chance to face off with Iowa State on Monday night. And certainly when the season started, I think most people had us 1-2 in their polls, and here we are. You know, we're sitting there tied. And, you know, I think it's going to be a great night for women's basketball, whether you're a Bear fan or a Cyclone fan. I got to believe with the game on ESPN and the kind of crowd that they draw, I'd be shocked if they don't have 10,000 people there. So should be an amazing atmosphere and an amazing opportunity for our team.
Nikki, particularly in that fourth quarter when they cut it down to 3, did you just kind of put it in Alyssa's hands and say, go win the game for us?
You know, we moved it around. I thought, you know, we simplified. You know, we really simplified in some ways. We got in horns and played to the high-low. I thought Queen, you know, made some plays, you know, late. You know, we had done a decent job of getting their post and foul trouble. But, you know, certainly we got Liz in transition some. She was knocking down. You know, she struggled to hit her jumper right at the beginning of the game, but once she made one, you know, she was pretty smooth from that 15-foot range. So we moved her around. But, you know, we had big shots by Jamie. I thought Jamie played well all night on both sides of the ball. I mean, she had the job of chasing Holly around all night or most of the night, and even 25, who's got such a physical advantage, you know, on her. And so, you know, for her to not only, you know, have some of the toughest matchups, but to stick open shots, you know, when we needed them, I thought she was a huge key, and it shows up in her plus minus.
I was about to ask you about Jamie, that stretch midway through the third quarter. I guess that was Melissa's only assist was on the three-pointer that put you ahead, but then Jamie had that nice play on the three-point play after Caitlin had the steal.
Yeah.
And Caitlin had the three-point play. Talk about that kind of play and what that does for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're just energy. I think they energized the crowd. I think they energized the team. It created separation. You know, this is a team that, I mean, I'm a big fan of what Brandon runs. I think they run great stuff. And because of that, like when you get into an execution situation, like I think they're a good execution team. And so getting in one possession games, I think he's good with a clipboard in his hand. And so, You know, I think any separation that you can create, you know, gives your team confidence. And, you know, I thought I thought at the end, I know Queen missed one layup, but, you know, she had a 3-point play opportunity. She put one in. You know, we just did it. We got real simple in horns. You know, we got real simple with our horns, but they had a hard time. They had a hard time guarding that late. It was pretty good to us. So sometimes, like, you got to stay with what's working.
One of those plays, it's 75-72, and Sarah drives into the lane and then drops it off for Queen. How crucial is that to make it a two-possession game?
Yeah, I mean, huge. I mean, it just gives you it's not less pressure at the defensive end because obviously Franklin Lose, the probe and play against us, you know, she was so good playing downhill, you know, and I'm glad she was in foul trouble in the first half because she just came to play in the second half. But she put a lot of downhill pressure on us. And so, you know, you're in those one-possession games, you get tighter. You know, it's a two-possession game, and you don't have lots of room for error, but, you know, and they missed some easy ones too. I mean, I thought we missed some easy ones around the rim. You know, they obviously missed an easy one right there at the end of the third quarter where we made a defensive mistake on a switch, and so, you know, I just think it keeps you comfortable. You know, it keeps you in control of the game.
Coach, Jaden hit some threes in the first half that I thought were pretty critical, but it seemed like you wanted to have her keep attacking the basket. Just your thoughts on her play in the first half there.
Yeah, I thought, you know, obviously stepping up and hitting those shots. I'm sure the scouting report on her, based on statistics, you know, says, you know, give her that shot. And so anytime she steps up and knocks it down, that's a huge win for us because, you know, when we put her in, we know we're going to get energy. We know we're going to get effort. I just thought, you know, in basketball terms, they've become a very, very good ice team against ball screens. And so because we don't see that a ton, we see it some, we don't see it consistently. And so because of that, I think the quicker you are playing into your actions and if you flatten your screen, like I thought Jaden had the ability to play downhill and get into gaps. And, you know, she had 4 assists tonight in 19 minutes. And so I just felt like she had the ability to get in the lane and kind of help manufacture points for us. And, you know, they do a pretty good job when Jackson's in the game at rim protecting, you know. And so because of that, you know, I think you got to probe with the guards and read.
With Jordan Lewis now breaking the record and the resiliency and how hard that is through every bumps and bruises, can you just kind of discuss that now that it's official?
Yeah, I mean, we were joking about this. She's the only kid on my team that was born before 2000. So we cracked up about that in practice yesterday. But I think part of it means she's old, and part of it is, you know, the one season she missed. She still got 8 games in, you know, so those count towards her total. And but it does mean that she's played those other 4 seasons, you know, and now 5 through bumps and bruises and ankle sprains and wrist sprains. And you know, she took, you know, she struggled to shoot it tonight, but her charge was one of the biggest plays of the game that she took, you know, and so when you make plays like that, that's why she's out on the floor. You know, she struggled from the free throw line, but she made a couple really nice assists there at the end, you know, as well as that charge. And so she's just resilient, you know, and I'm just happy, you know, for a kid that played 4 years before she made an NCAA tournament, you know, her 5th year at Alabama. You know, this is what she came for, to play in big games like this, to play for championships.
When they went to the monitor, were they looking to see if her feet were in or outside of
So you have the ability to challenge like I did at Texas. So they basically challenged that it was a charge arc, restricted area violation. So they can't really overturn whether it's a block or a charge. They can't change the call, but they you know, but they can challenge whether she was in the restricted arc. So, but it costs them a timeout too. That's the scary part, especially when you've got 2, like the situation they were in.
Nikki, I don't know, just finished this one, but Iowa State, and I know it's been a long time, but, you know, what do you, Ashley Jones, obviously,
Yeah, I mean, you know, they when they played at Kansas, in their last game, they were 7 for 10 from 3 in the first quarter. And Ashley Jones hit 4 of them. Like, she just came out and said, this is my game, you know, and so certainly she's a huge part of what they do. We spent a lot of time talking the last time about how, as much as they have the highest three-point volume in terms of per like total shots they take in the game, that, you know, sometimes where they beat you is they get you all stretched out and then they beat you off the bounce. And I thought that the last time we played them, our greatest strength against them was not getting forced into tons of rotation. We did a really good job of staying between our player and the basket, chesting them up, you know, and so now they're not playing to 2-on-1s on the backside because you're rotating. Because, man, when they start lighting it up from 3, they can beat anyone on the planet. So, you know, I think it's always going to be those two things. And then the other component is you have to feel the game out against them because they guard every opponent differently. You know, every opponent differently. They're very scout specific. They're going to give you this and not that. They're going to guard this person hard, not that person hard. You know, sometimes it looks a little junk-like, but it's not. You know, it's just they're man-to-man most of the time, but, you know, they're really soft on one player and really aggressive on another, and they're really good at understanding I got to get over on this kid and I got to get under on this kid and I've got to chase this kid and I've, you know, so they're just a really good, they have really good synergy that way.
Alyssa finally broke through that 30-point barrier.
Yeah. Maybe it's because I played her off 40. I don't know. I'm sure that's what she would say.
Well, but she also did it in not a situation where it's like, oh, she's got 29, let's get her to 31.
Right.
They were baskets you had to have.
Right. I would say until the last one, they were all baskets that we needed, you know, and I'm not saying there was anything wrong with her taking the last one, but sometimes you just, you know, you can choose to dribble that out in that situation and run clock, but still a good basketball play based on our separation in that game. So, yeah, we needed every one of them. I mean, I thought, you know, she made, after a couple early turnovers, I thought she made really good decisions. You know, she finished well. She got out in transition. I think that's the thing she's done as well as anybody in the country, you know, kind of through this winning stretch is getting out in transition and getting some before the defense is set. And, you know, I thought the only, you know, kind of bad decision she made down the stretch was, you know, we had a numbers game. She was bringing it down, and they called her for charge. And I thought she had she had Jamie wide open in front of our bench. And a lot of times that's still good play for her. But I thought the fact that Jamie had hit 4 threes at that point, you know, that was probably the simple read. But, you know, a lot of times in that situation, she'll Euro step and shoot a layup. So I just thought she made really good decisions. She knocked her shot down. She came off screens well. She curled it when she needed to curl it. You know, she just did some simple, really smart things tonight.
Last question.
Coach, considering how Big 12 play started and that your team is able to battle back to now where it's a 1-2 matchup on Monday, how would you describe this special group of players that you have to be able to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I've said all along I don't make a lot of excuses, but I honestly feel like our 0-2 start was very health related, was very COVID related. Not that we maybe couldn't have won those games or shouldn't have or should have won those games, but I think it made us hungry. Like, I think sometimes, you know, things not being easy. I think, you know, for a lot of the veterans on this team that have been here and won 3 Big 12 championships, or I think it's felt easy to them a little bit. And there's been nothing easy about the Big 12. There's been nothing easy about, you know, any one of these games. Even if we end up winning by 15 or 18 points, you know, sometimes it takes us till the third to separate, you know, and so, you know, I think there's an appreciation, there's a gratitude, there's a commitment to, you know, proving that we're where we're supposed to be. I mean, you know, we wanted to be playing our best basketball at the end of the season, and you know, we got to keep staying healthy, and we have to be way more careful than most teams in the country at, you know, managing their bodies and our rest and how much we do. And a part of me would love to get more reps, but a part of me at least understands after being in the pros that what we have to do and is comfortable with how we prepare. I think a lot of people, a lot of college coaches that haven't been in that situation would really struggle with the few bodies we have in terms of how we have to teach and learn and be careful and load manage and things like that, because we can't load manage in games. So, we have to load manage in practice and in preparation. And so, these guys are growing up. I'm just super proud of how resilient they've been, how they've believed in one another and believed in our staff. Thank you.
Coach, give us an opening statement and we'll take questions.
Nalissa was obviously terrific. I felt like every time we made a legitimate push, she made a play, whether it was offensively or defensively. To beat a team that's that good, you've really got to be clicking and put it together. And I thought we were good, but we weren't good enough. And just have to find a night where we can put it all together.
Right now, obviously, it's been a good year for you guys so far. How tough was this week, though? I mean, you guys get on the pinnacle, something to chance to really do something. You play the two co-leaders and come up short.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way the schedule. We knew that. I think somebody told me we had the toughest schedule in the country the last 4 games. And, you can look at that as an opportunity, I think. We got better today. We didn't win, but we got better. And I have to think that at some point that's going to pay dividends, hopefully maybe in the NCAA tournament.
First guy struggled shooting. Is that more attributed to Baylor's defense, or was she a little bit off? Or?
In combination, they were around her and physical with her, all night, and she just never got in rhythm. I thought played a little sped up. We got some illegal screens from our bigs, where she wasn't waiting on screens, and but that's what a good defender does.
When you played Baylor back early on, obviously they were still early on with Nikki. How different do you see that team from when you saw them back in January to where you see them now, and how they've developed under her and how different they are?
Well, they're playing really well. I'm not so sure they're not playing as good as anybody in the country. They appear to be a lot more bought into the defensive end, maybe than the first time we played them. And, they're talented. And, everybody always asks me about their depth. And I think that's great because you're not going to have any problems. Everybody knows they're going to play, and they're a special team.
You guys were up 8 in the second quarter, I believe. You were getting a lot of, clean looks. And then I guess you weren't. Did they change anything, or did y'all?
I thought we changed. We got away from doing what was beneficial to us, and execution-wise, about 3 straight possessions, we didn't have good offensive possessions, and some of that was self-inflicted.
Brandon, in what ways did you feel you got better?
We continue to rebound the ball better, scoring against a very physical, athletic team. Other guys, Julie Brasso, it's nice to see her have a good game. Zakiya Franklin had a good night for us. The stat sheet doesn't really show it, but to see Denai Papadopoulou come off the bench, who hadn't played much for us, I thought she gave us some really good minutes.